Shalom friends, Aaron here. I'm not surprised by this, but I just rolled by our playground in our neighborhood. I never really thought about it, but it's closed. And then I went down by in our neighborhood we have these playgrounds where kids can play football up to 12 years old. They've got baseball teams. Our kids were doing karate over there. Um, they got other things going on, basketball, volleyball, whatever. That's closed. And again, not surprising to me, but I just never really thought about it. Can't let the kids go to the playground. Oh man. Look, now's the time to pay attention. Now's the time to find information that's going to be really hard to find in the near future. To study up on the history of germ theory, what it's really all about. And I've heard things recently like people just accepting, and I've heard this for years, but just recently it's been on my mind. People accepting, the doctors are telling them that they have these hereditary illnesses that there's nothing they can do about, and if they had a good diet, change the way they live their life, that it can't be any better. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's total nonsense. This idea that we can't do anything to help ourselves be well, to actually be well, it's total foolishness. We've really bought a huge lie. Aren't you angry yet? I'm amazed that people aren't angry enough to speak out. I've got a neighbor across the street. He's in his 70s. He's got one daughter. Doesn't live anywhere near him. I don't know how often they talk, but even if they talk all the time, which I don't think is the case, he sees her, I don't even think once a year. He doesn't have any family nearby. Anything that he used to do, like maybe go to church once in a while, he can't do. He is so terrified of catching this virus or passing it on to somebody else that he won't let anybody near him. I talked to him for a little while, about a week ago. He's so used to getting hugs from our kids, and you could hear him, basically, you could hear his sadness, wanting me to tell our kids that he loves them and that he misses seeing them, and that he doesn't want them to feel bad that he didn't hug them. What good are we doing that man? Scaring him to death. Guys, you claim to believe in the Bible. You've lived to see the days where it's illegal to go to church or to gather and have a Bible study. But your eyes aren't open yet? Okay. All right. People are still wanting to be silent, not rock the boat. The boat's sinking. It's sinking. Okay. I'm going to share a link to a video about, this is straight from the CDC, recommending that pregnant mothers who just have babies be separated from their babies for 2 weeks. Nobody can visit the baby. Baby goes in the nursery, nobody can go in there. We have heard stories. We have good friends who didn't want, I think it was the vitamin K shot. They didn't want the baby to have the vitamin K shot. They had everything, and that's legal here in our state. In some states you can't refuse it. We'll call CPS on you. They had it all in their birth plan, and they had it all laid out. And my friend who went down to the nursery to keep an eye on the baby was told by the nurse that she's going to give the shot to him anyway, and he walked toward her to say, no, you're not doing anything to our baby that we have not said you can do. and she hit the alarm, and the police came, and they threatened them with protective services. Protective services. I mean, such freaking nonsense. You can't. Anybody with eyes to see knows you can't leave your loved ones in the hospital without paying attention to them, especially when they really can't pay attention to what's going on for themselves. But now you can't visit your loved ones in the hospital. You can't visit your loved ones in the nursing homes. You can't see your baby after you deliver a baby in the hospital. All right. Look, there is enough evidence that this is bull. I was just getting some work done on the van, air conditioning being replaced on our family van, and the woman who is the wife of the shop owner, I mean, they own the shop together, she runs the office. Every time she'd come in the door, they got a TV up in the waiting room. Of course, you can't wait in there now. But I was in there waiting to talk to somebody, not waiting for the vehicle, but, you know, just needed to talk to somebody, kind of standing near the door. Don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And every time she walked through the door, her eyes were glued to the TV, like a deer, caught in headlights, addicted to the fear. Just like that. We've had our chances here to say goodbye to the TV. Now we can't stop reading about the coronavirus. I'll tell you, if it were real, I still don't give a damn. I'm still going to hug people. I'm still going to shake hands if people are willing, but more and more people aren't willing. Now we're afraid to be near each other. Places across the world cracking down on people not keeping their social distance, 6 feet away from each other. Try to have a conversation that the authorities don't want you to have. Try to protest or, we have in the Bill of Rights the right to assemble, but now we don't have the right to assemble. But everybody's okay with that because, they're afraid. Okay. People don't want to speak up, even if it was real. I choose freedom for you and for me. I'm standing at the Academy Sports. Surprisingly, a sporting goods store open. I've seen in other parts of the country. I know people who work at sporting goods stores, and their sporting goods stores are closed. Ours are open. You can go get ammunition. If you can get past the delay and the background check, you can pick up a firearm if you need to. That's not the case in a lot of places. Gun stores closed. Some of the gun stores around here are closed. Kids making a game out of the fact that they're going from their X to their X. The little taped X's all over the place. Making sure you stay 6 feet apart. Companies mandating, of course, that their employees have their cell phones on them with a proximity app installed. Firing people because they don't keep 6 feet away from their coworkers. Virus. It's not true that we're not responsible and that we can't do something about our health. It's not true. We have been created to be incredibly strong and resilient. And if we will make the choices that we can make for our health, and they're not easy, only because we're addicted. Turn the TV off, stop eating all the added sugar. Go gluten-free, not because that's some fad diet, but because the gluten is so hybridized that our bodies don't recognize it as food, and that the current gluten, hybridized with weeds, which are poisonous for us, opens up, tears holes in our intestinal lining so the toxins spill into our guts instead of being processed. Gosh, I just don't even know where to begin. Like, you don't have to be ill. We don't have to be ill. We do have to die. We're gonna die. All of us are gonna die. You know what I don't understand is why people are so terrified of dying. Drive your car, you're more likely to get killed. You go in your bathroom, you're more likely to slip and fall and be seriously injured. But live in fear. Our body needs to regenerate 1/3 of its cells. Some very intelligent people speculate every single day. We need to heal, and we can. We can heal. I've shared with you, our minds are blown with just the amount of different kinds of food that's out there. Corn that has more protein than any meat you could eat. Tomatoes that are black on the outside, dark purple on the inside, full of antioxidants. Herbs that and foods that fight illness and promote health. We can be healthy. We can be. We're meant to be. There are things that are outside of our control, but there's a lot we can do. And if we would do those things, choose not to surround ourselves with the EMFs that we can avoid. Don't eat the trash. All of the processed food is trash. It's been a process for us to get away from those things, but that's where we are today. Eating good, clean, whole food, taking care of ourselves with what's found in the creation, or nature, if you will. And we're well, and we're going to stay well. But when we're living in fear, when we're panicked, and it's such prideful arrogance to think that you can watch horror movies and not be affected. Occasionally check out some porn and not be affected. Play violent video games and watch violent movies and not be affected. That is the epitome of foolishness. You're fools if you believe that. And you're fools if you think that you can soak in, drink in, eat it up, this fear that's being pumped out at you. It's propaganda. It's propaganda. It's legal for our corporate government to use that propaganda against us. But does anybody know? Does anybody care? Does anybody see the facts? You can, for now. There's a lot of people putting out good information. Check out Dr. Andrew Kaufman. You can find a lot of interviews from him and find his links on Richie for Boston's site. Check out what Jamie from A Plain Truth is putting out. People sharing links, showing you what's coming from the CDC. Former Prime Minister calling for one world government to tackle coronavirus. It's bull crap, man. It's bull. But you're all terrified. And you don't heal when you're in fear. And you don't think well when you're in fear. If you're running from a bear that's about to eat you, all of your body's regenerating and cleaning out toxins and all the things that it does to make you healthy, to help you be healthy, that's all shut off. It's all fight or flight. And that's how people are living right now. That's how most of you, almost all of you, are living, at least to some degree, every day. Peace is possible. Peace is possible. It comes with knowledge and obedience. Comes with some work, fighting off the fear, being prayerful, being honest about your fear, being honest about your fear so that you can let it go. This is no time for anybody to be quiet. This is no time for any of us to just silently accept the last bits of our freedom being taken from us. But not taken because we lay them down. We lay them down. Oh, please, please, corporate government, save me. Save me from the coronavirus. Save me from all of the people around me who are super spreaders, carriers of this awful disease. Part of living is dying, people. Part of living well is dying well. Accepting death, understanding that it's part of life. This place is not our place to rest. Run our race. Yeah, he leadeth us beside still waters so that we can get a drink of water. Take a nap where it's quiet and the enemy can't attack us, so that we can get up off our ass, pick up our sword and our shield and fight again. Period. And then when we get to the end, when we fought a good fight, when we've run a good race, well done, good and faithful one, enter into my rest. If you're looking for rest in this life, Anybody looking for rest in this life is going to get slapped in the face, whether here or in the next, with the reality that there was no rest here. That's not what this life's about. There's good things, you know. There's the grace and mercy of the Father. There's His beauty still here. There's the kingdom growing in us. There's our opportunity to have deep and really meaningful relationships with others. Doing the will of the Father in this place. If you're alive today and you claim Christ, Mashiach, Jesus, Yeshua, and you're not willing to open your mouth and speak, if you claim to love America and love the freedom that comes with America, and you're not willing to be angry, righteously angry about what you see going on all around you today, then you don't love freedom. That's a lie. You don't even know who Christ is. If you can watch what's going on in this life and keep your mouth shut. Not for long, anyway. I made a video not that long ago about not hitting the snooze button. The alarm clock's ringing, and it ain't going to ring again after this. I really don't believe it will. Hit the snooze button and you might not wake. No more snooze. I've got a lot to be concerned about. I've got a lot of reason to want to hide and cower and not make ourselves a target. I got one last thing to say, and I might have shared this one other time. I was given an analogy by the Holy Spirit, by the Ruach, by the Father, through the Spirit, some time ago about how we can be hiding somewhere and think we're safe, and it's the worst place to be. And we're being called to battle, and we won't go, but that's the safest place for us to be. If it's our time to go, we're going to go. What the hell are you worried about dying for? If it's not our time to go, then no weapon that's fashioned against us will prosper. Freedom only comes in surrender to the Father. That's a fact. There is no other freedom. There isn't. But hey, submit to the authorities. Pastors want to preach that. They also want to tell you all about Malachi. Bring your tithe into the storehouse. Well, a lot of those pastors are living pretty comfortably right now. That's a fact. Where's the storehouse, pastors? Is there a storehouse to open up? Because what's the whole point of a storehouse is so that, just like in Joseph's time in Egypt, when the famine came after the good years, the storehouse could be opened up and people would have something to eat. Can you open the storehouse? Is there a church that has a storehouse to open? Or has all of that resource and wealth that's been brought into the church, is it in their building, their technology, how pretty it is, the nice cars that the pastors drive, and their family's nice clothes, and their retirement, and their vacation time? Is that where it is? In most cases. Submit to the authorities, everybody says. Submit to the authorities. But then we have beautiful examples, long before Paul ever spoke about submission to authorities, about Daniel, knowing that the command of Darius, tricked by the evil men he was tricked by, was that nobody should make any request, any petition, any prayer to anyone other than the king. And yet Daniel opened up his windows that faced Jerusalem and prayed 3 times a day. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. And of course, those weren't their names, right? They were, any other time I could think of their names. So one of the questions I ask the kids all the time. Bow down to the golden image. They faced the ruler over their known world, face to face. They were brought before him when they wouldn't bow down to his golden image. And he told them, like the president, like the orange man telling you, you better do what I say. If you will not bow down, I'll throw you into the fiery furnace. Hey, our God is able to save us. Even if he won't, we won't bow down. Did they submit to the authorities when it meant breaking the commands of the living God? We are called not to follow a whole big set of rules, but to live like the Savior lived. to reach out and touch the lepers, to be the hands and feet. You don't see that this is wrong? Stop being afraid. I've shared this before. Got this analogy, World War II tank battle. Shermans against Panzers. The German tanks that were so big and bad and so armored that the little tanks had very little. The Allies had, little chance against them, except they had a sweet spot on the backside of the tank that they could plant their shell right there. They disable those things. And I got this picture of some people who have this understanding that they ought to be joining the resistance. Some French farmers, they don't give a damn about this war. All they know is that they're watching this tank battle getting ready to happen. Troops lining up, armored vehicles, tanks, across what used to be beautiful farmland, and it's pockmarked and destroyed. Everything they know is gone. And they hear about the resistance across the battlefield, across the river. They got to go join that, or they stay and hide where they are. And they're hemming and hawing. They're trying to decide, do we join the battle or not? And then the tank armies line up against each other, and they think, well, it's too late now. We got to just hunker down and hide here behind this clump of trees that's been, blown from over there. And I get this picture. I see it right in my mind. A Sherman seeing a Panzer kind of maneuvering, and he sees that he's got a shot at the tail end of that thing, and he's getting ready to take his shot. But one of the other Panzers sees that Sherman aiming for his buddy, blasts him with a shell just as they're hitting the trigger. That Sherman spins. That shell lands right where those people were hiding, where they thought they were safe. And what they could have done was at the last minute said, to hell with sitting here and hiding. To hell with thinking that we didn't want to be part of this war, but now we are. It was thrust upon us, so let's go. Run across that field. 50 caliber bullets flying every which direction. If they're not meant to hit you, they're not going to hit you. If that's the place to go, run for it, baby. This is no time to be quiet. This is no time to think that you can sit idly by and do nothing. Newborn babies separated from their parents for 2 weeks. People literally being told your baby died and not being able to see that baby. I'm telling you, I know stories from the people who lived them about what's happened to their loved ones in the hospital, or what was attempted to happen to them. Things that happened to my loved ones in the hospital. My own personal experiences in the hospital. Can't go see them now. You don't see the problem with that? You're okay with no freedom? Because you're scared? Save me, government. Grow up. Wake up. Don't hit the damn snooze button. If this doesn't make you angry, you better start getting angry. If you keep believing these lies that we are not responsible for our health and the health of our loved ones, and that we can't make a real difference, not, I feel a little better. I mean, you don't freaking get sick difference. If you don't believe that truth, you're wrong. Flat out, you don't know what you're talking about. You've believed lies, and you need to let that stuff go. You'll die. I'll die. All my kids will die. My wife will die. My parents will die. Everybody I know and love is going to die. And then face the judgment. It's appointed for all men to die once and face the judgment. That's a fact. And we don't know the day. Oh, we're going to go do this and we're going to go do that. Fool. Today your life is required of you. Lots of people say they'd rather be gone. Of course. But these are the days we were called to be in. I'm telling you the factual truth. I would live in no days other than these. These days. This is what I'm called for. To raise our kids and prepare them for what lies ahead of them.